little context. As a child, I always used to see things. Ghosts, demons, goblins, monsters, voices, all this shit constantly. I hated it. But it was a part of my reality, but it got lesser as I got older. So probably something growing up, environmental, hormonal, whatever.
Yeah.
This was probably about, I was like 12, 13 years old. And in that time, I was very tired of this aspect of my life. So I used to try to take pictures of things like that whenever it would pop up, whenever I would see it, because I figured ghosts hate cameras, right?
Yeah. Well,
and I was living in a place in Kentucky that I considered to be extremely haunted. I have a story about an evil doll I can tell you as well, or dolls, plural, that move on their own. So I was freaked out. I was like a little nervous ball of mess of a kid. Every fucking day there was a voice or a noise or some goddamn light or some spooky thing or some problem, at least a couple times a week, right?
Can you describe like what it was you were seeing? Like a fully formed thing, a shadow?
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Okay.
So in the context of this story, I'm minding my own business in my bedroom. I'm just cleaning it. I'm like 12, 13. It's a mess, right? And it's a nice like old wood cabin kind of place. So we have these wood doors with the complicated grain pattern and stuff. And I'm minding my own business, and I look over at the door and I watch it like warble very briefly, as if something is trying to push through the wood grain pattern. Now, here's the bizarre thing. What you're probably imagining is something like the Predator or like an elite from Halo standing in front of it with like the light bending. But it was more like my brain was opening to a pattern in the wood grain that I could previously not perceive, but now that I could. And it was both moving and not moving at the same time. And it was wiggling and wobbling and coming together. And it formed the shape of something that I would say would be a cartoon demon, something like you would imagine out of an 80s or 90s scary movie, you know, demonic goat legs, scary hands with nails and horns and whatnot. Huge, full frame of the door just standing there. And it's like, hi. I'm like flipping out. I'm like turning white, and I'm like just fucking scared shitless. And the thing starts talking to me and telling me how fun it's been to play with me, and that my brother's on the chopping block next. Can't wait to see what he's going to do to him. And
Jesus.
But it was talking not in my ears. It was talking up here. There was a voice and thoughts in my head that were not my own, just flowing in from somewhere. And I was panicking. And I remember as a child caring about my brother a lot. So I told it to stay with me and leave him alone. And it thought this was very amusing, said it would do so, and then said, let me give you a little preview of the future. And the wood grain just snapped, and it was almost like a TV screen, but like 2D and made of wood lines, just flashing little things in that theoretically would be in the future. Also an awful, nasty stuff, right? A lot of bad things. And then pops back to the demon, and it's just like, bye. And immediately the pattern goes away. It never changed to begin with. I could no longer perceive this. And the scary thing was that of the 4 things that I was shown, 3 have come true.
Ooh, I'm sure not all of them are things you want to share. Are any of them something you could?
It's primarily personal things with my family.
Fair enough.
Just
yeah.
Things that would, you know, like how grandma dies, stuff like that.
Well, that's so you were hallucinating regularly as a child, all the time.
Not all. As I got older, much lesser. As a very young child, yes, at the very least. As an adult,
I think Taylor phrased that incorrectly. When did the visions begin?
As long as I can remember.
You're right, Kyle. I'm sorry. This is the Halloween season. We need to buy in.
Literally, as long as I can remember. You want a killer doll story?
When did you realize you were a seer?
When I was 7 years old, I had to go to various like psychiatrists and analysts or whatever to let them do whatever they were going to do. They put me on a lot of different medications that children should not take, and it didn't help the problem at all. I had a terrible home environment, so it's probably some manifestation of that. That kind of instability is really bad for little kids. A lot of scary movies, stuff like that. You
ever seen any aliens or anything?
No, I've seen shadow people. I've seen lights.
What the fuck is a shadow person, man?
It's it's like a fucking like a shadow on your wall of a person, but there's no fucking person there.
Well, I hate that.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
I don't care for that either.
Is your home life extraordinarily bad or like normal bad? Like parents got divorced, like half of kids go through.
Extraordinary.
Okay.
Fuck.
So
enough to make you see demons and
I was having a good day up until like 20 minutes ago.
We can make this. We can make this one.
So the way to think about it, you talked about DMT, and that's what gave me the idea. I legitimately think that my
Don't do
brain
DMT.
dropped a
You're
tiny
halfway
bit
up,
of the
1 foot
DMT
in.
stores that it has, because it felt like I was perceiving a pattern that previously I could not perceive, and hearing things that I previously could not. I had issues with dolls that would move on their own in the same house. I fucking hated that. It used to creep me out because I always felt like they were staring at me.
I'm sorry to keep interrupting you, but I'm fascinated.
Okay.
When you say move on their own, like it wiggle a little, or it would just be here and now it's like in another room.
Yeah, like being in
Second
an
one.
leave it.
But to an extreme degree. So we were rich. We had a giant toy room bigger than this office. They had a whole fucking wall of stuffed animals. And they all had these little glass eyes that I thought were staring at me all the time because I was a fucked up little kid. Didn't like it. It was very annoying. So what I decided to do one day is go in there and turn all 100 of them around to face the wall. So just like teddy bear butts facing the rest of the room. And my little play areas, I had a little game station right beside the door to the playroom. So just sit in the door would be right here. So I did that and I was like, great, I'm going to go play Road Rash on N64. And I do that for a little bit. I was like, I want something from the toy room. So it might have been an hour and a half later. Nobody is going in there. Parents are like gone. It's just me. If somebody did go in, it would have had to been like right beside me. Right. I go in there and all 100 of these fucking dolls have turned around. And they're not just facing outward on the shelf like where they were, but the ones on the further ends are like angled in. So they're all looking at the door the very moment I opened it.
Ooh. Did you turn them back around?
Yeah, I just closed the door and left. Just fucking out. Bye. See ya.
Did they ever move again after that?
I've never seen or heard anything. I wish.
No, you don't. You don't wish. This sounds fun.
Horrid. Why would you want this?
Well, I don't want what he's got. I mean, clearly he has a thing going on.
A touch of the crazies.
Yeah,
People.
I just want to see a door wiggle one time or something like.
I want it to turn into like the Pillsbury Doughboy or someone good. Kyle, you're muted.
Seen Lights. I've seen Hat Man, the old woman. I've heard of plenty of number of like mostly weird sounds. You hear things dragging around in the wall, or little voices and whispers and stuff. But so it wasn't just me; it was the whole family. We all had to deal with this shit for like 7 years. It was terrible.
So they were seeing stuff as well with dolls and
yes.
doorways.
My mother especially, she's got a whole host of colorful mental problems. So her reporting is less than reliable. My brother has a few creepy stories. He was very young, and the interesting one is that the old man, my stepfather, is like this Vietnam War veteran. He's not into this spooky ghost shit. My mom complains about ghosts all the time. He's like, shut the fuck up. You don't know what real horror is.
Finally, and then fucking last, a normal person. And Jesus Christ, I'm all here alone listening to the last 40 minutes of make-believe bullshit. None of this happened. But
it got him too.
None of this is anything. It didn't get him.
There was a night we heard footsteps sprinting through the house and noises. He bolted up out of the bedroom, shotgun. Who's in the house? And we're all like, we've been telling you it's a fucking ghost. And he's like, bullshit. And he just starts going around to see if there's anybody like breaking in the house or sneaking around outside and stuff like that. So it got him a time or two too.
The demon got him.
You just don't believe, Woody. You're just a skeptic.
Well, here's the reality. It's what happened from my perspective, which is only as reliable as you believe in me.
And so like
I think you have a mental illness, but I wish you the best.
I believe in your ghost stories this much.
Well, see, Woody, but we talked about this with like the schizophrenia thing when we talked about schizophrenia a couple weeks ago. Like, in their eyes, everything they're saying is 100% real, and it's like they're not trying to like pull the wool over your eyes. They're like, no, I saw a shadow person, and so like to them it's real, and so it's like just as horrifying as if it is real, you know?
Sure.
And you can't unremember it. So as an adult, this continues about 3 or 4 times a year. I will briefly see or hear a thing that's not there, not a spooky ghost. I mean, I'll just be like laying in bed by myself and it's dead silent. And I'll hear, welcome to Wendy's. What would you like to order? And I'm like, the fuck?
Just
my number 6 with a Coke Zero.
Yeah, just
coming right
tiny,
up.
Like maybe like one shadow person scooting by and then going to do his own thing super quick. But the difference between that and schizophrenia is a schizophrenic almost certainly believes that. Schizophrenics are confused that all of you don't see the same thing. They don't it's like the object permanence, or that one person can have knowledge that the other one doesn't. There's like an incongruency. So those hallucinations are reality, but in my case, I know that they're not real.
Damn. That as a kid, you probably thought they were real, though, right?
Oh, very real.
Yeah.
Very, very much so.
That's horrible. I've never seen a demon or a ghost, anything like that. But I guess it's only a matter of time, Woody, until one crosses my path.